What is good, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, Joshua from Ray's Reviews, and welcome to the final part of my ranking, of my yearly ranking, where I'm ranking my top 10 favorite films of the year 2023. This is going to be the same way as I did the ranking of my top 5 favorite shows, where I'm going to give my honorable mentions and then my top 10. And as same thing as always, if you guys have your own top 10, or if you agree or disagree with my list, let me know down in the comments. Let's have a fun discussion. And just want to say thank you guys for all the support that you've given this channel, and hopefully 2024 is going to be even bigger and better for us. So without further ado, let's get into it with our honorable mentions that could not make it to the list. So the first honorable mention is, as you can see, Wonka, starring Timothée Chalamet. This film was so good. The musical aspect was so incredible. The songs are very catchy. I'm still listening to a majority of the songs that I liked. The reason why it's not in the top 10 was just because compared to the other projects I saw, this just didn't feel like it was a full-on top 10 film. Maybe when I watch it a second time, I'll probably still like it very much, but it was still a fun film. But it's just not in the top 10 for this time. The second honorable mention is Elemental. This was the only Disney Pixar film that we got this year, and in my opinion, it's probably the best one that we've gotten in the 2020s era since Soul. Because, well, yeah, no, if I had to rank it, I'd say Elemental's number 1, Soul's number 2, Luca's number 3, Lightyear's 4, Turning Red is 5. That's just how I feel about it. Elemental was a very good love story. I really do love the animation style. I really do love the look of Element City and the story overall. The reason why it's not on my top 10 is just it underperformed the box office, and well, it didn't necessarily underperform, but people gave it a lot of slack, and it's very underrated. And in my opinion, it deserves to be in my top 10, but I just couldn't. There are a lot of other options, a lot of other films that came out this year that are in my opinion, a lot better than Elemental. The third honorable mention I would like to add is The Marvels. As I said in my comic book ranking video, this is a fun film. The dynamics between Carol, Monica, and Kamala are so much fun. Darbank could have been a better villain, but her motivations were understandable. This film is just definitely not. As much as I love this film, it's not top 10 worthy material. Along with a lot of the other comic book films that we got this year, there are only, I believe, 2 or 3 that I put on this list. I need to relook at the list, but you'll find out what the whole list is in a minute. But overall, this is still a fun film. I just thought that it should be mentioned on this. It should be mentioned, and it was considered on this list. The fourth honorable mention is Killers of the Flower Moon. When I saw this movie, it just made me realize how greedy humanity is, how we as humans are so greedy and can be so evil. The way that this film was portrayed was just so incredible. It was so good. I absolutely love it. I'm definitely going to buy it on DVD whenever it does come out, but I absolutely love it. The main reason why it was just not added to the top 10 was just because of how it just showed me, it just reminded me more specifically how much greed and hatred we have in this world. And it's just very bad it's just very horrible. But the film itself, it was so good. It was shot so well, and the story itself is just beautiful. And the final honorable mention is Blue Beetle. I was debating so hard on whether or not this film should be in my top 10. It was this close to being part of my top 10, but what made it not hit was just the fact of how there was just something about the film that just didn't make it top 10 material, and just how it felt like it was part of the DCEU, but it just, I don't know. The story about it just didn't seem top 10 material, in my opinion. It was still a good movie. I absolutely love it. It was number 3 in my total ranking, comic book ranking video. It's definitely my favorite DC film of the year. And I just overall enjoyed it. It was still a fun film. I love the story. I love the family aspect of it. And I wish I could have got into the top 10, but it unfortunately wasn't. So now we're kicking off the top 10 with number 10, The Creator. This was a film I did not expect to love so much. When I first saw the trailers for it, I thought it was going to be, I thought it was good. I thought it looked, visually it looked beautiful because just of how real it looked, and how, just how the feeling of the movie felt. I did not know much about what the film was going to be about, and this film blew my expectations. I absolutely love I absolutely love what Gareth Edwards did with this movie. He made like it look you could tell that he shot that it was on set locations and not what other films have been doing recently where it's fully CGI. And that's just something I love to give Gareth Edwards credit for in this movie. John David Washington, Gemma Chan, the whole cast was incredible. The whole plot was just, in my opinion, just kind of very good because in my opinion it felt different than to what we usually see with like a war, humans versus AI type film. I know people say that it's kind of the same. It's the same formula that we've seen in a bunch of other of these films. But in my opinion, it felt different in my opinion, and for that reason, just because of how sympathetic we could feel with the AI and with the robots and AI, in my opinion. Then at number 9, we have Transformers Rise of the Beast. This was the first Transformers movie that we've gotten that was, aside from Bumblebee, that was not directed by Michael Bay. And this film absolutely was awesome. I absolutely loved the introduction of the Maximals and the Terracons, two sub-Transformers species that I did not know existed until this film. The human characters, they actually served a role in this film. And like a character like Noah, he had like a story arc. Same thing with Prime. I loved what they did with Prime, where he started out just like not trusting humans, where in the Bay films he trusted humans throughout the whole film, except for the beginning of and a majority of Transformers: Age of Extinction. But seeing Optimus and Mirage, all these characters interacting with the Maximals, and seeing Unicron as a threat was really cool, and the look of Unicron was awesome. And that post-credit scene where we had of like the possible tease of a crossover with G.I. Joe, that was something I did not expect to see, but I thought that was really cool in general. Then at number 8, I have Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1. The continuation of the Mission Impossible series always somehow makes it even more insane, but also just like more heartfelt in a way. This film is definitely not my favorite Mission Impossible film. From what I remember ranking it, I think I put this film at number 3, but it was still a fun time. The dynamics between Tom Cruise and Haley Atwell was awesome, and that entire airport sequence was in my opinion the best part of the film. You could feel the intensity of the whole of that whole environment, and like how it was actually like pressed for time, and how the entity was actually like fooling around with Ethan and the rest of the team. The villain, Gabriel, he was a really good villain. Palm Clementiath, I really hope that we see her for part 2, because I think she could deliver something that I feel like she could do more as like an anti-hero type role, because she was definitely a villain in this movie. But overall, this is still a fun movie. I still had fun with it. It was very intense, not as intense as like a film like Fallout, but it was still fun. I really enjoyed it, and I'm excited to see what they're going to do with part 2. Then at number 7, we have the Super Mario Bros. Movie. This film, before we saw the trailer and stuff, I was so skeptical on this movie because of how Illumination, the company who makes the Minions, I was just so scared that they were going to butcher it so badly. But when we got that first poster, I was just like, there's no way that Illumination is making this movie. And the voice casting was incredible. I said this in my review, that Chris Pratt was able to do enough work to distinguish his voice with Mario. And then the rest of the casting was awesome. I stand by this to this day. Luigi should have gotten a story, a character arc in this movie. He should have had more to do. He should have tried to escape Bowser's dungeon. He should have. That's something I will stand by to this day. And hopefully if they make a Super Mario Bros. 2 movie or Luigi's Mansion film, Luigi will have more time to shine. He will have a bigger character arc in the movie. But overall, this was an amazing film. Jack Black absolutely killed it as Bowser, especially with the Peaches song. That song was the song of the year, in my opinion, because of how many times people were using it as like memes, and how iconic it is. Overall, it was a very good movie, and I hope that we get a sequel. Then at number 6, I have Oppenheimer. Now, this was a film I did not expect to love as much as I thought I was going to. When I remember when I was hearing about the cast that was going to be in this movie, I just could not imagine how so many A-list actors, S-tier actors, were going to be in this film with Cillian Murphy, with Matt Damon, Emily Blunt, Florence Pugh, Josh Peck, Jack Quaid, Robert Downey Jr., Dane DeHaan, Rami Malek, all these incredible actors being in this movie and all serving a role in the story of the first atomic bomb. That was just an incredible film. I absolutely loved it. And my favorite scene in that movie is at the very end where Oppenheimer is talking to oh crap, what's the guy's name? What's the guy's name? The guy with the beard. I don't know why I'm blanking out on his name. I'll put a thing here for what the guy's name, because I always mix him up with Thomas Edison. I know that's not his name. I know that's not who he was. I just can't remember who it was. I'll put a thing here if I haven't already. But overall, this film was just very intense. You could feel, but in that scene, you could just see how much regret Oppenheimer had for creating the atomic bomb. You could see the regret he had in his eyes, and that was just such an incredible scene. I absolutely love, and just this story overall was just incredible. And this film definitely deserves an Oscar. After doing a quick research, I just found out it's Albert Einstein. I don't know why I always confuse him with Thomas Edison. Whatever. Then at number 5, I have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. This was a film that I was anticipated for, but I didn't know what to expect, especially with Seth Rogen being a part of it, because Seth Rogen, in my opinion, his films can be a hit or miss. Some of his films are incredible, like This Is the End, and some of his films are not, like the Neighbors films. In my opinion, I don't really like those films. But this film did not disappoint. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem is probably my favorite rendition of the Turtles since the 2012 TMNT show. I absolutely love the cast in this film, and I'm very excited to see what they're going to do with the TV show, with the TV show that they're doing that's set in this universe, and then with the sequel. I'm very excited to see what they're going to do with both of them. I'm obviously going to do reviews for those when those eventually come out. But the cast was incredible. The 4 actors who played the Turtles themselves since they're actual teenagers, that's what makes it feel better, because in all other renditions of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, whether it's live action or animation, it's always adults playing teenage turtles, and that's just something that just kind of felt weird. I don't know why, but I'm glad they were able to actually make teenagers play the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And overall, this was very good. Jackie Chan absolutely killed it as Splinter, and all the actors that were able to come in and play the mutants and the villains were incredible. Then at number 4, I have, funnily enough, John Wick Chapter 4. Now, John Wick Chapter 4 was the first ever John Wick film I'd ever seen. I had no expectation going into it. I did not know what it was going to be about. And I came out of that movie star-studded and just saying, okay, I need to watch the rest of these movies. And now I have all 4 films with me right now. And this film is just so action-packed. That's all I gotta say. It's action-packed. It just shows, and seeing from behind the scenes, you just tell how committed Keanu Reeves was to doing these action sequences, and just seeing how impossible it is to kill John Wick. From all 4 of these films, it's just impossible to kill him, and I'm really glad with how the film ended with John Wick's story. I know there have been rumors saying that there's going to be a John Wick 5 movie. I don't think there should be. I know we're getting a spin-off that takes place in between the events of 3 and 4, so that's not too bad because it's like a spin-off film, and I think Keanu Reeves is making an appearance in it. But aside from that, I think that's fine. If it takes place before the events of John Wick 4, I'm okay with it. But I just don't want how the story of John Wick to continue, because his story ended in John Wick 4. He died in 4 and he died doing what he tried to do. Getting himself out for his love, for Helen. But overall, the cast was awesome. Bill Skarsgård, I believe that's the one who played the Marquis de Gramont, absolutely killed it as the villain. You feel that how menacing he is, and how tied with the table he is. And I would really honestly love kind of like a story, where a film or even a TV series, kind of like what we got with the Continental show, where we learn how the high table started. I doubt we're ever going to get that, but overall, this film was definitely one of my favorite films of the year, because it's at number 4. At number 3, I have Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves, another film I had zero expectations going in, not knowing how I was gonna feel coming out of it, and I came out of it absolutely loving this film. It was funny. It opened a door to the Dungeons & Dragons world, which is a world that I have not dived into aside from watching Stranger Things, because I know Stranger Things takes heavy inspiration from Dungeons & Dragons. But the cast was star-studded. Chris Pine, Michelle Rodriguez, Hugh Grant, they were all so incredible in this movie. The funniness of it was incredible. The action sequence was surprisingly awesome, and this was just such a fun this was just such a funny film that I did not expect it to be. I do hope that we get a sequel for this, because they did kind of possibly tease there could be a sequel, but I don't know, that it's probably unlikely that we're gonna get a sequel, but I'd absolutely love for a sequel to come out. Then at number 2, I have Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Pretty much the same reason as to why I put it at number 2 in my superhero ranking. It was just a perfect ending for the Guardians trilogy, and it was just an awesome story as to overall who these characters were. If you want to see my more in-depth breakdown of why I put this film at number 2, go watch my comic book film ranking video. And at number 1, again, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Same reasons as to why I put it in the first at number 1 in my comic book ranking. If you want to get more in depth with that, you can go watch that. But in short, the story was incredible, the animation was astonishing, and the voice acting was incredible. And I'm so excited to see what's going to happen with Beyond the Spider-Verse. And there you have it. That is my ranking of my top 10 favorite films of 2023 with some honorable mentions. Let me know down in the comments what was your favorite films of the year. I hope we have a good discussion, and thank you guys so much for the support that you've given this channel this year. After me doing this, being a YouTuber for 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, for 6 years, it's going on 7, for almost 7 years, I finally reached 100 subscribers, and my main goal for 2024 is to get to 200 subscribers. That is our objective. That is our goal. If we can get there, I will be so happy. I absolutely love doing reviews. After doing YouTube for almost 7 years, I finally found something that I love to do, and that's doing reviews, reactions, pitches, rankings to films, because I absolutely love films. I'm a film guy, and I'm so glad that you guys have been, as recently, you guys have been going into commenting, saying whether or not you agree with me, whether or not you disagree with me with my personal rankings of episodes or movies. That's just so incredible to me, and I absolutely want to continue growing this channel, and I hope that we can do that in 2024. And yeah, that's all I gotta say. So if you are new to this channel, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and hit the bell icon so you will never miss another one of my videos starting in 2024. The first video that I'm going to be making in 2024 will be on January 2nd. I'm not going to be making any videos on the 1st because I'm going to be busy. But on the 2nd, expect the first video to come out where it'll be my ranking of anticipation for films that are going to be coming out in 2024. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys have a very safe and very well 2024. I'm Joshua from Mayhem's Reviews, and I'll see you all next time. I'll see you all in the new year. Bye-bye.